Hey everyone, so I just wrapped up the last big project that I had planned for the garage, and that was installing an HVAC system. Now, when the house was built, I couldn't run direct HVAC in here from the house because that would have been against code. So up until now, I've never had direct heating and cooling in here. Now, I did a garage build video a few weeks ago talking about the exact setup and layout that I have in here. Now, fortunately, this garage is extremely well insulated. Closed cell spray foam insulation in the walls and a polyurethane door. So it stayed pretty well tempered in here, usually about 50 degrees or so, up until it started to get extremely cold outside, like teens or single digits. Then it usually drop into the high 40s in here. So since I'm always in here, I'm always doing projects, I'm always working on somebody's car in here, I've always wanted to have some sort of heating and cooling in here because I was running 2 space heaters, but they just didn't have enough strength and enough BTUs to really get the job done in here. It's about 700 square feet in here, and the ceiling's about 10 feet, 9 inches tall. So those 2 space heaters running simultaneously, even if I ran them for 3, 4, 5 hours, it would get an increase of maybe 3 to 5 degrees in here. So they didn't have enough power to realistically get the job done. So that really wasn't a long-term viable option. I always knew I needed to do something in here for direct heating and cooling. So initially I was thinking maybe doing heating only. I know those natural gas heaters are very popular. They put out a tremendous amount of BTUs, but that's all they do is heating and that's it. So for someone who needs a lot of heating, those things are great. You can get them over 100,000 BTUs. They're great for massive areas, big barns, very large scale garages. It's perfect for that, but I kind of wanted to have a little bit of everything, and I wanted it to be extremely efficient. So that's when I decided to go with one of these mini split systems. Basically, essentially, these are also referred to as heat pumps. So this basically does everything. It does heating, it does cooling, dehumidifying. It's extremely quiet. It's actually running right now. You probably can't even hear it on the microphone. And these things are known for being extremely efficient. So I can basically run this thing all the time, especially in the winter, and really not see a major increase in my utility bill. So there are DIY systems for these things. I'd had a full professional install done on this. This is about an $8,000 setup. So it definitely wasn't the cheapest way to go, but this is kind of the best of everything. So it's a pretty simple system. This is a Fujitsu. These are probably one of the most well-known mini split systems on the market, extremely well built, very well put together, really good reviews. It's a very solid company from all the research that I've done. It's an 18,000 BTU system, 18,000 BTU of cooling, 21.6 of heating. Like I said, dehumidification, this thing is just ridiculously quiet. When it's running sort of a maintenance mode like it is now, just keeping the space at the temperature I've set, you barely hear. You have to stand next to it, and it has to be dead silent to hear that thing running. The only time you really hear it running is when I turn the temperature up in here, and it goes to full power. You'll hear the fan kick on, but that's pretty much it. So it's extremely quiet, and it's very effective in here. And these things are incredibly low maintenance. So there's really a couple of filters in them that need to be cleaned out periodically, and that's pretty much it. So there's really not much to maintain in these things either. And I kept the system pretty simple. This is a single zone, single head unit. I mounted it in the corner of the garage here. Normally you'd mount them in the middle to balance the temperature a little bit more. Because I have the lift here, I basically couldn't put it in the middle because the upper car would have blocked it. So I basically ran it basically along my walkway here in front of the cabinets and behind the cars. So it has a pretty good shot to get the air balanced in here for the most part. And it's pretty well balanced. The corners, I know, is a little bit of a temperature difference in some of the corners, like in this back room in the back or in the very corner opposite in the garage, but it's a very minute difference. So it's very effective in here, and I'm extremely happy I did this. It was pretty involved installing this. I had 2 electricians and 4 installers from the company here, and they were here for a full day to get this system up and running. So the setup I have a sub panel in the back. I had the electricians install that about a month or so ago because I knew this project was coming up. 125 amp sub panel in the garage. So now I have tons of extra power in here, and I'm also going to use that for a bonus room I have above the garage eventually when I finish that off. So what we did was we basically ran all the power off that sub panel. Rather than running all the conduit along the ceiling, have it just look ugly and basically take up space towards the top of the wall, we ran it up through the attic, and then we brought it back down and ran it here. I painted all the conduit just so it looks better, blends in. We then ran it outside. We ran it to the power box outside. We have a whole house surge protector. I already have one for the house, but we just put another one on for that unit itself. One big single unit outside. We have it ground mounted, and then we have, obviously it comes back up and inside to the head itself. We did a really short run so this thing stays as efficient as possible. So it's a nice short run, all insulated inside. Where it comes up, I'll show some pictures of the exact setup that I have outside to show how it is. When the spring comes around, I'll probably put a few more plants around it just to make it a little bit nicer, but I'll wait till it's not freezing outside basically to set it up. But a pretty good setup outside overall. It's not too big and cumbersome, and the plants will hide it pretty well. And then we ran it to the single head in here. So anybody looking for some sort of HVAC setup in your garage, and if you want everything, this is a great way to go. It's incredibly quiet. A lot of people run these in their house. These are real popular in people's houses just because how quiet and how efficient they are. Most people, from what I've seen, when they switch from your more traditional furnace to something like this, they see a noticeable drop in their energy bills. So I'm basically leaving this set on 60 degrees in here. And like I said, if I want to bump it up to say 70, if I'm doing something here, I'm going to be in here for a while, I can either use the remote that it comes with, or I can go through the app on my phone. I can bump it up 10 degrees, and probably within about 30 minutes or so, it'll be at 10 degrees warmer in here. And my space heaters could never, ever do that. They would never, ever be able to do something like that. But this was, like I said, not the cheapest way to go, but being able to run, because these are so efficient, I'm not worried about running this thing all winter long and having a noticeable increase in my utility bills. And I'll use a little bit of the cooling features in the summer. If I'm in here working and it's really hot outside, it's hot in here, the cars are hot, it'll usually get over 90 in here. So if I need to knock a little bit of the heat out of here in the summer, I'll do that. And having dehumidification, having expensive cars in here, I don't want to get too humid in here. I can set it to dehumidify and keep the humidity at a very reasonable temperature in here so things don't start to get rusty and have to worry about the effects of a very humid atmosphere in here. So not the cheapest way to go, but long term, being I'm going to be living in this house for a very long time, I think this was a really, really good way to go, to really have the best of everything and have it be long-term cost effective. So anybody that's looking to do a garage setup or get really HVAC in their garage, definitely consider doing something like this. If you really want to be able to have everything and have it be very efficient. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.